Hey everybody, Cynical Manor here, and today we're in the MB339A. It's an Italian trainer plane. It's good for doing a little ground pounding, or just if you want to get out there and fly a little bit. I've tried to make this video a few times. I actually posted one last week, and then I realized after I posted it, it was laggy in areas, so I took it down because I didn't want you guys to have to watch that and go, man, this video sucks. So I'm going to try it again. I think it was the Nevada map that I had it on. I think that was the issue. Or it's either the plane one. But I really think it was the Nevada map. I'm going to try again on the Caspian map and see if that fixes things. But if you notice on the aircraft, we've got some remove before flight on both sides of the aircraft, and we have engine covers on as well. Don't worry about those. Don't worry about contacting ground crew to remove that stuff. When you get in the aircraft, throw on the battery switch. Those automatically go away. So we'll jump into cockpit here and get things started. This is going to be on taxi, or excuse me, cold start, taxi, takeoff, and actually landing as well. Alright, so we're in the aircraft. We're going to look down to the bottom right hand side of the right panel. And we're going to go ahead and throw on the battery switch, generator 1 and 2. We'll step out to the aircraft outside of it again, and we'll look and see all those covers are removed and the remove before flight tags are gone as well. So once we've turned the generators and battery on, we're going to look back here to the bottom back right of the panel. We're going to go ahead and turn our strobe on, our beacon. We're going to turn it on to bright, and we're going to turn it on to flash. We're going to look up to the front left panel here, and we're going to turn our master engine switch on, our limiter switch on. We'll go back here to this fuel shut off. It should be open, and make sure your fuel transfer is on your tip or your wing tip, or you can put it on pylon, but I believe for the start you do put it on the tip, and we do have the tips equipped today. You can take those off if you'd like. And we'll turn our anti-skid on. We're going to go farther back here and to the UHF panel. We're going to turn the radios on to both. Leave this one on manual, and we're going to transfer the rear one over to transmit receive. You'll see the flash, and that radio will come on. So now that that's all on, we'll go ahead and start the aircraft. We're going to hold down on this engine button for about 3 seconds here. This is right here to the left of that engine switch. You'll see it come online. We'll zoom in here. And once she hits about 25% or so, all you got to do is move your throttle out of the detent. And we'll do that now. And you'll hear her catch in just a second. There she goes. So we're going to go ahead and close the canopy. You can hit Control C, or you can left click on that knob there, grab the canopy, and lock it with that piece there. Left control and C will do all that for you. Alright, so now that we've got the aircraft started, we want to go ahead and go back here, and we'll turn on some instrument lighting and console lighting so we can see a little better. We're going to go up to the front of that right hand panel. We're going to go ahead and turn on our GPS and get that warming up. Our TACAN, we're going to put that on transmit receive. And we're going to put our IFF over to normal. On the GPS, we're going to go last stored and accept. And go ahead and let that alignment start up. When you turn on your GPS, I don't know if you noticed it before, but your artificial horizon and all these gauges will kind of flip around and do their thing and get set up. So while that's doing that, we're going to come back over to the left-hand panel. We're going to look down. We're going to throw our oxygen on here. We're going to look in between our legs and pull this pin right here for the ejection seat. Now that pin's going to go over to the canopy door here. If you need to put it back in, just click here on the left and it'll go back into place. And then in front of the flight stick here, it is on a lock system, so we want to remove that lock just by a left click there. And you can see that our controls are now free and clear. If you ever notice when you taxi and that doesn't work properly, then you forgot to unlock your flight stick there. I do believe that's everything. Just waiting on the alignment here, and we should be ready to go. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, so when you get in the aircraft, your speed brake will be out, and your flaps will be down all the way in full. So we're going to move those to the takeoff position, the flaps, and we're going to bring the speed brake back in. We'll show you the outside of the aircraft now. So we're just waiting on the alignment. It should be done here any minute. The other thing is, and I won't do it now, we'll have to take off our parking brake and turn our taxi lights on, but that's not a big deal. I always seem to forget the parking brake in this aircraft, and then I'll go to power up, and I'm like, well, why isn't it moving? And I'm looking outside, and I'm like, there's no wheel chock, so what's going on? And then I've forgotten to turn off the parking brake. Alright, so everything's aligned now. So we'll left click on the parking brake, and then you can either mouse wheel in or up to push that in, or you can just left click it and drag it in. We'll right click to turn on our taxi lights, and we're going to give her about 60% of throttle or so to get her moving. She takes a minute to spool. Then once she gets moving, you can back down on that throttle. So we're right here next to the runway. Oh, one thing I did forget to tell you, you will have to bound your nose wheel steering button and turn that on. Notice that in the right hand side here, we do have steer on, so that means our nose wheel is engaged. When we get going down the runway, after we get to about 50 knots, we can turn that nose wheel steering off and use our rudders to control the aircraft from that point. Alright, so we're clear right and we're clear left. We're going to go ahead and take a left here on the runway. Go ahead and throw on our landing light. Get lined up here. Slide down in my chair. So we'll come to a complete stop. We'll just go over and check everything, make sure we're good to take off. And let's see here. So we've got our flaps to take off. We've got our speed brake up. Landing lights on. Alright, we're going to hold the brakes. Power her up slowly up to 100%. So we're at full throttle now, just waiting her to catch up. And we'll release. You've got two ways to count speed here on the GPS and an analog version. There's 50 knots. We're going to turn off the nose wheel steering. We're looking for about 120 knots. We're going to start to rotate. Going to give it about 10 degrees of back pressure here. Alright, we'll rotate. And she's coming up. We're going to go gear up. And she does jitter around a little bit, so don't think that's anything new. Flaps up. And we're flying. It's pretty cool, huh? She's a pretty easy little plane to fly. She's pretty fun to fly around too. I actually put her on the Nevada map and just flew around a little bit and explored. Went over the dam and in between the bridge there. Just flying around. Now I do know at about 420 knots or so, if you pull up hard on her, she's gonna break her wing off. So that's just something to think about. There is a MB339A Pan version as well. That's more or less a like an acrobatics version of this aircraft. Go ahead and trim her out. She is a little trim happy through the speeds. But what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, we're going to extend out, and we're going to come back and land on the same runway that we took off. Let's see if I can see a number on that. What was that? 30, 33 maybe? 23? I don't know. Let's see. We can look at the, look here. 25. Wow, I was off. Alright, so I'll pull back on the power, so she's starting to sink. Like I said, she's very trim happy. So we'll come back here and give us a nice little ways to land. It's currently doing 226 knots. She likes to cruise at about 300 to 400 knots. I have gotten her up to about 440, 450. It's not a super fast little guy, but it's good reconnaissance plane, good little ground pounder and trainer. So we're gonna go ahead and turn to base. When we turn to final, we'll start slowing her down. We'll throw out the speed brake, go to idle. I'm afraid I may not be high enough. I think I am, but give her a little speed here because she's slacking here. We'll get lined up, and I'll walk you in through the landing. Alright, so I'm reducing power to idle. I'm going to throw out the speed brake, slow us down. You'll get some jitters out of the plane when you do that. We want to be at 150 knots so we can fully extend the flaps and drop the landing gear. And we'll be at about 115 knots to come into the landing. They say to actually touch down at 95 knots. I feel like that's a little bit slow, so probably about 105 or so. There's the landing gear, first stage of flaps. We'll throw the landing gear down. Got a balloon. We'll go ahead and throw the flaps all the way to full. Still slowing down, still got that speed brake out, as you can see. We'll go ahead, and our landing light is still on from where we took off. So I'm going to trim the aircraft up so I can take the back pressure off the stick there. We're coming in, get lined up here. When you come in, just like any other aircraft, you're going to flare. So come in here, start to flare. I'm going to just leave that speed brake out. And down she goes. And there's no parachute involved with the aircraft. She'll stop pretty much on a dime. I'm just keeping in the back pressure here, just to slow her down. And we'll go down here to this taxiway here. We'll start just tapping the brakes a little bit. There's a taxiway right up here to our left. I'm pretty sure we can make it. I'm slowing her down. We're under 50 knots. We'll turn on the nose wheel steering. And we'll turn off to the taxiway here. And we'll clean up the aircraft. So now we're on the taxiway to a stop here. And we'll go down here. We'll turn on our taxi light. We'll clean up the aircraft. We'll go flaps. Speed brake up, flaps all the way up, and then we're good. We'll go ahead and continue to taxi. And like I said, she does take quite a bit of power to get going here, but once she gets going, she's pretty good. So we'll take a left-hand turn here. We'll just go over and shut her down at the closest ramp. So, pull in here. I know I'm going really fast. I'm just trying not to waste you guys' time. So we're going to turn that in here. We'll come to a stop right here. Alright, so now that we've come to a complete stop, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get ready for shutdown. So we'll turn off on nose wheel steering. We're going to go down here. We're going to mouse wheel over the brake and left click it to set that. And we've already turned off our taxi light. We'll go ahead and do everything in reverse, basically. Turn off our lights, console lights. We'll go ahead and turn that off, that off. We could have left our beacon on until we actually shut the battery down. We'll turn off our GPS. We'll run her up to 60% of throttle. At 60%, then we'll drop her down and hit shift end to shut the engine off. So we're going to kill the throttle to idle, shift end, put her in the idle detent, and kill the engine. We'll turn off the radios. And we'll come over here and we will turn off the generators and the battery. Put the pin back in the seat. Go ahead and lock the control. Open up the cockpit. Left click there. And we are shut down. You can still hear the engine spooling down just a little bit, but that's pretty much it. So hopefully that was helpful to everyone, and send me some likes, some comments, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you next time, and thanks for watching. Have a good one.